Hi guys, today we are going to talk about agreement of adjectives. Adjectives are words that describe nouns, and we're going to make them agree in gender and in number with the words they describe. Let's talk about gender first. As we know, we have masculine and feminine nouns in French. We also have masculine and feminine ways of expressing the adjectives that describe them. Our first example, il est intelligent. He is intelligent. We're going to make intelligent agree in gender with he, il. So it's masculine. Luckily, our adjectives come to us in a masculine form already. They're already masculine singular when you look them up in the dictionary, so you don't have to do anything to change them. But when we come over here to our feminine version, elle est intelligente, as you'll see we've added an e. That's how we change something from masculine to feminine in general. So, elle est intelligente, the e agrees with elle, she, makes it feminine. Our next example down, il est bavard, he is talkative. Bavard already comes to us in our masculine singular form, so we don't have to do anything to make it agree in gender with il. But if we come over here to the right, elle est bavarde, as you'll see, we've added an e here, and that makes it agree with elle. In our example in yellow down at the bottom, il est paresseux, this is a new type of adjective. The ending is EUX, and whenever we have an EUX ending in masculine, the feminine version is EUSE. So you'll see here we have elle est paresseuse. So, also important to know is that there are some times when we cannot add an extra e when something is feminine. So when not to add an e. This is when the word already ends in an e that has no accent mark. So let's look at our masculine example. Il est égoïste. He is selfish. It already ends in an e that has no accent mark on it, so we're blocked. When we come over to elle est égoïste, even though we're supposed to make it feminine, we can't do anything else because adding an extra e, the French think it would look weird, so we have to leave it the same. The same with il est bête, he is stupid. It already ends in an e with no accent mark. So elle est bête, same deal. E, no accent mark, we can't add anything extra. That's very different from our last example down here in yellow, il est fatigué. The last e has an accent mark over it. And that means that when we come over to our feminine example, elle est fatiguée, she is tired, we must add an extra e. It's this accent aigu, this accent mark right here, over the first e that makes it so that we must add this second e. So we've covered masculine versus feminine. Let's go ahead and discuss singular versus plural. So let's talk about that for masculine things only for a moment. For masculine singular, again, we don't have to do anything to change our adjectives. They already come to us in the masculine singular form. So, il est intelligent, il est bavard, il est paresseux. The way you find the adjective in the dictionary is the way you use it for masculine singular. But when we come up here to masculine plural, you'll see ils sont intelligents. They are smart, and we've added an S. And then ils sont bavards. They are talkative, and we've added an S. So we add an S to masculine things when we need them to be plural. Now, this last example, ils sont paresseux, they are lazy or blocked. The French don't add an S after an X, so you'll notice that these two endings are the same. Now let's take a look at what this looks like for feminine things. Singular versus plural for feminine. So let's take a look over here. We have elle est intelligente. This is singular. She is intelligent. We have only one person, elle est intelligente, and we've already added our e because it's feminine. Now we have elles sont intelligentes. And take a look at what's happened. We've added the e and the s because it's feminine. We add the e and it's plural. We add the S. Similarly, one example down, we have elle est bavarde. It is feminine, so we've added an E for elle. And then elles sont bavardes. They are talkative. We've added the E and the S. E because it's feminine and S because it's plural. And finally, we have our elle est paresseuse. This is that funny EUX becomes EUSE ending. And if you look over to the right, elles sont paresseuses. They are lazy. We can add an S, and we must add an S to the end of this EUSE ending when we're talking about something that is plural. So that's how you handle things that are both feminine and plural. So let's talk about when not to add an S. We do not add an S when creating the masculine plural form if the word already ends in an S or an X. So for example, this word gris, which we know means gray, already ends in S, so we cannot add an S to it. Similarly, paresseux ends in an X, and we cannot put an S after an X in French, and so we leave it the same in its plural form as it is in its singular form. Feminine plural is different, however. These same words, you'll notice we've added S's to here. Grise. We add an E to make it feminine, and so we can then add an S to it afterwards. So grise is ES for the ending. Then we have paresseuse. We have our EUSE ending for our feminine, and that means that because it ends in an E, we can then add an S to make it plural. So it's important to know that some of our adjectives are invariable. They do not vary. They do not change. So they do not take an E and they do not take an S. We've already seen some of them here when we were talking about hair and eye color. Châtain, which means light brown when we're talking about hair. Marron, which means brown when we're talking about eyes. And noisette, which means hazel when we're talking about eyes. These don't take an E and they don't take an S. New words that we're learning in this unit that are also invariable are super, which means super or great, and sympa, which means nice. Neither of these words ever take an E, they never take an S. Now we have one special case here. We have a very special word and it is beau. It means beautiful. This is an irregular adjective, meaning it does not follow any of the rules that we previously looked at. So we have masculine singular, looks just like you look it up in the dictionary, beau. Il est beau, he is beautiful. Masculine singular going before a vowel would be belle, as in belle enfant, beautiful child. We have to use belle because the French think beau enfant would sound weird, so this E in front of enfant means that we use our masculine singular vowel form, belle. And then masculine plural becomes beau, and instead of adding an S, we add an X. We just have to remember this. It's just irregular. For feminine singular, we have this irregular version, belle, belle. And then feminine plural, following the rules a little bit more closely, we have belle with an S. So hopefully this has helped you to understand how we make our adjectives agree with the thing or person that they describe in French. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know.